Being married to an amazing woman is like owning a great car. Hopefully I haven't gotten myself in too much hot water for saying that, but allow me to explain what I mean. When I was in high school, I really wanted to own a car, and so I worked hard and saved up. And the summer after graduating, I went out and bought a car. I spent all day hanging out with a friend, going from used car lot to used car lot, looking for just the perfect car for me. Finally found one that I thought would be great, and I bought it. Only to discover a few weeks later that I needed to do some major repair work on it in order to keep it on the road. Well, in the same way, finding an amazing godly woman to marry is a big challenge, but the job doesn't stop. The responsibility doesn't stop at the altar when you say your vows. In fact, it's just the beginning, and there's a lot more that needs to continue to happen for the relationship to be a blessing in your life. In Ephesians 5, verses 25 through 29, Paul says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church without stain, wrinkle, or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated his own body, but feeds and cares for it, just as Christ does the church." So husbands, I hope you found an amazing godly woman and have been able to marry her, but your responsibility isn't over. In fact, there's a lot of work that you need to do to actually care for her and to build her up in her walk with God. Now, I have to admit, I am speaking as much to myself here as I am you guys. It's all too easy for me in my relationship with my wife to sometimes feel like she's a complete grown woman. She can be responsible for herself. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. And yet, looking at this passage, we see that it is. As husbands, we have a responsibility to sacrificially love our wife, to care for her, to nurture her. And it's a huge responsibility. The command is, as Christ loved the church. And that is greater than I can even imagine, and yet that is the challenge that's been given to me as a husband. And so we're to do this sacrificially. And Paul says that just like each of us care for and nurture our own body, we need to be caring for and nurturing our wife spiritually. And so just as each one of us needs to be spending time in prayer, spending time in the Word, and spending time being supported, encouraged by other believers, we have the responsibility to be doing this for our wife. To take time to be praying for her. Even as we seek God, are we interceding and asking for God's blessing in our wife's life? And then a wife's job, a mother's job, it's never done. My wife works, I was about to say tirelessly, probably unceasingly would be a better way of saying it. She works constantly. Am I taking the time to take on some of those extra responsibilities and chores to free her up so that she can pursue her own relationship with God? I think that's something that we take for granted. Guys, we tend to go out to work, we work someplace else, but a mom's going all day long. She's caring for the kids, she's teaching the kids, she's working in the house. When is her time to really sit down and to be with Jesus? And guys, we need to intentionally make space in her life so that she can do that. And then let's take the intentional step to see how she's doing. As a pastor, I do what's called pastoral visitation. I call people up, I check in on them, and I ask them how they're doing spiritually. What's their walk like? We need to be doing the same as guys with our wife. Taking the time to say, hey, how's your relationship with God going? What is God teaching you? How can you be pursuing God? So we need to encourage them. We need to challenge them and push them, just like we need to be encouraged and challenged by other believers. Now, as I said, I'm not perfect in this. I've got actually such a long way to go. So this isn't a, do like me, but rather I think you and I both need to be looking to Paul's words in Ephesians and taking seriously the responsibility that husbands have to care for their wives. May God bless you, and I hope you have a great week. Bye for now.